Born into wealth, raised in a palatial home in Lekki Phase One, Austin had everything handed to him: designers clothes, the latest iPhone, international vacations, and even a private driver to take him around Lagos at any time. From his teenage years, he lived like a prince. His mother, Madame Eloho, adored him beyond measure. To her, Austin was still her baby boy even at 26. She did everything for him, made excuses for him when he failed out of university before he could pass the second time, and she constantly defended him to the house staff and even his father. His father owned lots of companies, so money spending wasn't a big deal. He was handsome and good looking. Every woman in town admires him so much that they all wish that at a time he could at least date them because this guy is rich and loves spending money on girls. Austin was the kind of son who never had a word no. When Austin crashed his brand new Mercedes trying to drag Grace down Admiralty Way, Madame Eloha simply bought a newer model the following month, saying, "Boys will always be boys." At least he's not doing yahoo. He never lifted a finger at home. He had no responsibilities, no chores, no errands, not even the basic courtesy of waking up early. Meals were served to him in bed, laundry was folded and arranged in his wardrobe. If the chef made something he didn't like, he would shout until his mother personally went to the kitchen to get him something else. To Madame Eloho, Austin was royalty, but to his father, Chief Ikenna, he was becoming a disgrace. One morning at breakfast, while Austin yawned his way to the dining at 11 a.m., still in his pajamas, Chief slammed his newspaper on the table. "Austin, this nonsense must end today." Austin blinked. "What? You are 26 years old and you've never worked a day in your life. Enough is enough. Go and get a job." Madame Eloho gasped. But he's still trying to figure out things. Let him breathe small now. Chief ignored her. Figure out what? He wakes up at midday, eats, and scrolls Instagram all day. He's not a child anymore. In this house, he will learn responsibility or he will live and fend for himself. Austin was stunned. No one had ever spoken to him like that before. Not in that tone, and certainly not about work. "But Dad, why should I work when you are rich enough to meet my needs and many other people's?" Austin said. "Oh, all right. We shall see. If you don't find a job by the end of this month, I'm cutting off your allowances and you will leave my house whether you get a job or not. And as for you, Eloho, the next time you give this boy money to lavish, I'll do beyond what you ever expect." Austin's father spoke angrily as he walked out of their presence. That night, he sulked in his room while his mother tried to console him, but even she could feel the tide turning. The days of being endlessly spoiled were running out. He was down. He thought of how his girlfriends will see him and how his friends will begin to look down on him. How will he meet up with the big boys level he has been known for? But he was angry with his father. "Mom, I can do without that. I'll get an accommodation and leave this house for both of you." The following day, Austin packed up his luggage and left the house for his friend's place, Dio, hoping to get a job and accommodation soon. For the first time, Austin opened Google search for job. He didn't even know what he was qualified for. He couldn't even write a proper CV, but he was on Instagram reposting his old pictures and writing captions like, "Big things loading soon." After a week of pretense to search, his friend Dio intervened and called a friend who owned a media company and begged for help. They offered to give him an internship job that comes with 100,000 naira monthly. 100k? What kind of ridiculous amount is that? Austin said. "God, It's an internship job oh. Some don't even pay. Why not use this as an opportunity to learn and prove yourself? Tayo replied. He used part of the money he had to get an apartment in Surulere and moved in. Austin showed up the next day at work wearing his Gucci slides, holding his phone like a mirror and barely greeting people. From the first day, the girls started perching around him like flies that found a poop. Of course, his look tells that he is rich and will be able to spend for them. One by one, he took them to his apartment, spent the night with each until all the money he has with him got finished. He started depending on his salary to feed. But how long will this be? Austin went visiting Dio after work when he knew he had nothing to eat. As he knocked at the door was opened by a beautiful young lady Nkem. Nkem was Dio's cousin and a banker who came to spend a public holiday with his cousin. Austin was in love. He couldn't take off his eyes as he entered in. Dio noticed and drew him back to his attention. Hello, Ogbeni. Why you dey look my sister like that? I like her, Austin said. As Nkem heard from the kitchen, Nkem started smiling sheepishly because she was also in love. His handsomeness, his charisma, he was everything to her. They finally exchanged contact and their relationship grew into something. They were truly in love. They agreed to get married, and 2 months later, they had a formal introduction and got married. In 6 months, Nkem had seen enough about her husband to write a book. He was not a husband material as she thought. She saw how important he feels and how lazy he is. He kept messing up with girls at place of work and spending her money on them. Austin never cares for her even as she is heavily pregnant. His attitude at work became unbearable. He loses his chances of being employed. He was dismissed after his internship was over while others were retained. What he learned? Nothing. Austin came home relaxed and didn't see the need to get a job. After all, his wife is working and earning good enough. Her money is enough to meet our needs, he thought. All he does is scroll through Instagram reels, posting fake pictures to show that he is still up to the level. Nkem returned home tired from work one day. She was feeling like it's due time for her baby. Austin, please, come take me to the hospital. I think it's time. With grumbling and murmuring, he reluctantly stood up and drove her to the hospital. That night, she was delivered of two boys twins. Nkem was so happy, but down within her, she thought of how she was going to cope after her maternity leave. She was full of worry and anxiety. There's more to do now, caring for one big baby to three babies already. Down the line, things became tougher. No help, no support. She had no time for other things than work and the kids. At 5 a.m., the alarm rang. Nkem dragged herself out of the bed quietly so she wouldn't disturb her husband, Austin, who lay sprawled across the bed snoring loudly. She blinked the tiredness from her eyes, slipped her feet into a pair of worn slippers, and walked towards the small kitchen in their two-bedroom apartment. Her morning was a whirlwind: boil water, pack the kids' lunchbox, iron uniform, bathe the children, get them dressed, and make sure they ate. She did all this while trying to look presentable enough for her banking job in Victoria Island. Austin never lifted a finger. Even when she nudged him awake to get the kids ready, he would grumble and turn back to sleep. Babe, I beg now. Just help me get them dressed. I'm running late, she would say. Leave me, Joe. It's your duty, not mine, he would reply, not opening his eyes. By 7 a.m., Nkem would bundle the kids into the car, drop them at school, and head into traffic. Her bank job was demanding. Clients, reports, meetings and deadlines, but she performed well. Everyone at work who thought she was a superwoman. What they didn't know was that after the 9 to 5 came the 5 to 10. Homework, dinner, laundry, mopping and then preparing for the next day all by herself. Austin, he stayed at home looking for a job he claimed. For 3 years he spent most of his days scrolling through Instagram, posting, watching football, tweeting nonsense and sleeping. He never helped with the children. He never paid a single bill. Water, rent or grocery, everything fell on Nkem. And yet he still demanded respect. You know the respect man. He barked once when she forgot to serve his food with water. See Nkem, if I had a job you would know who is the head of this house. She bit her tongue. If she replied, he might beat her up like the last time. She had learned silence was safer. One evening, Nkem came back late from work. It had rained heavily, with her kids in the car already asleep in their uniform. Traffic was mad. She was soaked, exhausted and stressed. Entering the house, she saw that nothing had been done. No food. The dishes from the breakfast still sat in the sink. Austin was asleep on the couch, two half-finished bottles of stout on the floor, and lingerie of the lady he messed up with. Jesus Christ, she whispered, fighting back tears. She dropped her bag and started cooking. Her boys came to hug her, and Nkem nearly collapsed from the weight of her own fatigue. Later that night, after the kids had slept, Nkem stood on the balcony, staring into the sky. She wanted to scream. Her heart ached from loneliness, not from being single, but from being married and still alone. She earned well, but there was never anything left. School fees, car repairs, rent increases, hospital bills. Her entire life was a list of bills and responsibilities. No breaks, no support, no help. And worst of all, no appreciation. It was a Thursday morning. Nkem fainted while presenting a report to her branch manager. They rushed her to the hospital, and the diagnosis said she is stressed, exhausted, and has high blood pressure. The doctor warned her, Madam, you can't continue like this. You need rest and help. You are overworking yourself. She nodded, but deep inside her she wanted to cry. Help? From where? From who? Austin didn't even visit her until she was discharged. He claimed he had a flat tire. When they returned home, she sat down. I can't keep doing this alone, Austin. I need a partner, not a burden. You either start contributing or what? Eh? Tell me. He cut her off, laughing bitterly. So now you dey form boss. You want to chase me out of my own house? Nkem, I married you. Nkem, I married you and I am the head of this house. I know you are complaining because of the little things you claim to be doing in this house. And let me tell you, you are not the first wife to earn more than the husband. Nkem, I own you and that's your money. So learn to be submissive. Those words stabbed Nkem, but her mind was made up. She had no strength left to argue. The next day, Nkem quietly packed some of her things and the children's. She moved into a friend's guest room temporarily. When Austin came back and saw the empty wardrobe, he called her in a rage. This woman must be mad. You took away my kids without my consent. You will regret this. Nkem had blocked him. Her family supported her, so did her friends and her colleagues, who had seen her break down. And for the first time in years, Nkem rested. She had peace of mind. She laughed. She slept without waking up 5 times in one night. She went for therapy, and slowly she found herself again. Austin sent long texts, made calls, but she didn't budge. She wasn't even being bitter, she was saving herself. Autumn came. She no longer waited, she no longer begged. She no longer prayed for someone to change, she simply chose herself. Austin went to Dio in shame, but he was mad at him and sent him out. You have not changed from that your bad attitude. With all what that girl did for you, Austin truly felt sorry. 2 months later, Nkem rented an apartment in Ajah. She and her children were thriving. She had gotten a promotion at work and had even started an online side business selling skincare products. Austin, on the other hand, was regretting his actions. He didn't know what day it was anymore. He sat on the floor of his apartment, the power out, his clothes damp from sweat. The last Indomie pack was gone. Rent was almost due. He had 315 naira left in his wallet and his phone was on 7%. The Instagram likes were gone. The fake big boy lifestyle had faded. No friends, no fans, no fallback. That night, for the first time in years, he cried, genuinely cried, not because of hunger or discomfort or shame, but because he finally understood something no one could teach him. The world owed him nothing, and more importantly, he owed himself everything.